For additional officials training, we will have biweekly meetings for 4-on-4 flag football like we do the rest of our sports. There'll also be weekly emails from me. A lot of times this will be updates and recognition. Every once in a while I may throw a quiz or have you all look at some video footage to go over some of that. Getting into the official uniform, so we will have stripes, white and black stripes in 7C, which is just the building that is right at the front entrance of the Rec Fields complex. So if you've been to the Rec Fields complex, when you walk in, you have to check in at that door on the left. That is our building 7C. So that is where you will go to clock in, where you will put your stuff before your shift. You'll get your stripes on, you'll get your pucks for the game. And the note with the stripes is that we do want them to be tucked into your pants or your shorts that you're wearing, so that you look professional, you look good, you feel good. And with those pants and shorts, we do not provide pants or shorts for you. So that'll be up to you, and they just need to be black and they need to be athletic. So we don't want you wearing jeans or cargo shorts, stuff like that. And then if you have cleats, that'll be great. You'll be able to move around a little bit better, but any sort of athletic shoes will do for officiating. Check-in procedure. If you play the intramural sport, you should be probably familiar, but students must check in at the front to get their jersey and to sign in for their game. They must have a 1 card to play. Supervisors and sport assistants will be primarily responsible for checking people in at the front gate, and you shouldn't have to worry about it too much, but in case you have questions or people come and ask you that you know. These are our scorecards for 4-on-4 flag football. Part of them will be filled out when they're given to you at the field. Your supervisor for the night will have them for you. The date, time, field, team name, color, those will all be filled out previously that day at the office. We will fill them out for you. And then you will essentially fill out the rest. So you will decide which team, when you do your coin toss, who gets the ball, who is deferring, stuff like that. You obviously take the score as you go, final score, sportsmanship rating, all of that good stuff. Any unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. And then at the very bottom, you see the R, the FJ, and the BJ. Those are back judge, field judge, and referee. And that is where whoever is working that position that day will just sign that at the bottom of the card. All right, now getting into some more flag football rules. So the ball, we do have footballs in 7C in the building that we can provide. However, a lot of times teams will provide their own ball. We don't really care what the ball is as long as both teams can agree on it. So they can use the same ball, the offenses can use different balls, whatever. As long as both teams can agree, we are good with that. We will provide the flag belts. We have all of them. People cannot bring their own flag belts because there's different types of flags that people can bring, but we want them using ours, and we have plenty, so that should not be a problem. Obviously, it's 4-on-4 flag football, so that is across all leagues. Teams do have to have at least 3 players in order to start the game. Where it gets more specific is in co-rec, so you can't have more than 2 of one gender on the field at a time. So if they have 3 males and 1 female, they will only be able to play 2 males and 1 female. They won't be able to play that 3rd male. So it has to be 2 and 2. Can't be any more than that, and can't be any less than that either. So they can't play 3 men, 0 women. If no women show up, if that's the case, then they will have to forfeit. Equipment on the field. So we have pylons. There's 6 per end zone, 1 marking each of the corners, and then 2 that we'll show you out there and what they do. The cones, or pucks as we call them, they are what mark the line of scrimmage. 1 referee will be moving them throughout the game. Yards markers, we'll show you what the field looks like. It's a pretty short field, so there won't be a ton of them. As far as players, we provide the jerseys. They do have to wear a shirt under the jersey. That is a must. Flag belts that we give, they're supposed to wear them 2 on the side, 1 in the back. And then braces, such as like a knee brace or ankle brace, we don't want any exposed metal, so just keep an eye out for that. You'll see players often bring out a towel for the games, and they can't tuck it into their shorts because that may interfere with the belt, but they can carry it with them. They can just place it next to the cone, and that's all good. You're not responsible for moving that towel. The quarterback or that some member on that team will be responsible for that. And next, we'll look at a little video to show you a little bit of what the field looks like. This is a really old video. Fields look a little bit nicer than this now, thankfully, but you'll be able to see the cones or the pucks and maybe a little bit more. All right, well, you'll see there's a quarterback does not want to put his flag belt on and just toss it to the ground, that's fine. We have no problem with that. They do not have to wear a flag belt. If they choose not to, or because they have legal equipment and they can't, then they are just one-hand touch, and that's all good. Reasons why they would not be allowed to wear a flag belt is if they have pockets, belt loops, or exposed drawstrings. Basically, anything that if somebody's reaching for a flag, they can get their finger caught in, we will not allow them to wear a flag belt in that case. And then they are one-hand touch from the shoulder down to the knee. Same goes for sweatshirts. We don't want that hood. Could get fingers caught in that. We don't want that exposed front pocket either. They can still wear the sweatshirt. We just tell them flip it inside out, tuck your hood in, and then they're good to go. We also don't want build hats, so hats with a hard brim or bandanas with knots. The reason for that being is that those hard pieces, if somebody falls to the ground, smacks their head with a knot on their head, it could do damage to them, and so we don't want that. Stocking caps, just little beanies or whatever, those are fine. We also do not want metal cleats. So if somebody has metal cleats, you'll let them know that they cannot wear them. They also are not forced to wear cleats, so if they bring sneakers out, good on them, they can play in that. All right, here are the field markings and dimensions. It's a little bit different, obviously, than a big football field or a 7-on-7 flag football field. So essentially, there's the 2 end zones that are 10 yards long, and then instead of 3 chunks of 20-yard areas, like in 7-on-7, it's just 2. So it's just one line in the middle of the field. We'll go over kind of first down, stuff like that as well. But essentially, it's just cut in half with the 20 yards. It's a 40-yard field, 2 20-yard end zones, 80 yards in total. Sorry, 60 yards in total. All right, going over the coin toss. So we typically do not have an actual coin out there. If you do, feel free to use it. But essentially what we do is we put a 1 or a 2 behind our back, have the visiting team captain guess 1 or 2. And then if they're right, they win the coin toss. If they're wrong, then the other team wins the coin toss. And we'll show you how to do that in in-person training as well. The winner of the toss has 4 options, sort of. Typically, they're either going to choose offense, they want the ball, or they would like to defer and they would like to take the ball the second half. If they say defense or they choose an end of the field, kind of preface them with, okay, if you do that, there is a high chance that you won't start with the ball either half. And typically they'll either choose offense or defer. And we can talk about that more in person as well. All draws will start on the 10-yard line. That's the last line there. Talking points in the captain's meeting. Obviously, you want to do the coin toss. We save that for the end, but it's essentially going over all the basic rules or commonly misunderstood rules. That is things such as why people can't wear flag belts. So no pockets, they have to have their shirts tucked in, have the brim, stuff like that. Especially the first few weeks, we like to go over some basic rules. Flag guarding is one that we have to talk about a lot, so we just let them know. And then you'll kind of get a spiel, I would say, as you go through games. You'll kind of say the same thing over and over again. You kind of get used to it. And then always allow for the teams to ask questions as well. Field is 60 yards long, 30 yards wide, like I said, 2 10-yard end zones. Games will always start at the 10-yard line. Drives will always start at the 10-yard line unless there is a penalty. And then teams will have 3 consecutive downs to try to advance to the next zone. So they start on the 10-yard line. The 20 is the first down. They get 3 downs to try to achieve that zone. And then if they are successful, they'll get 3 more downs to get to the end zone. So obviously this is a big difference from regular football and 7-on-7. They do not have 4 downs. They only have 3. That's another good thing to go over in the captain's meeting. There's no punting in 4-on-4 flag football, so they have to go for it. If the team does not convert, then the other team will take the ball wherever that spot is. So if it's an incomplete pass, it'll just be the succeeding spot where it was previously. Or if they catch a pass and they get almost to the first down, then we're going to take it from the end of the run there. And then we'll flip and we're going the other way. It is 2 14-minute halves. Clocks will only stop for timeouts or in the last 2 minutes of the second half. And we'll go over on the next slide when in the last, I guess it's last 1 minute of the second half, when we will stop it in that last minute. They get 1 timeout per half. It does not carry over. So if they do not use it, they will lose it. If we go into overtime, which is only in the playoffs, they will get 1 additional timeout. We'll go over playoff rules, but it's sort of like college football. We'll have 3 downs from the 10-yard line to score, and then the other team will have 3 tries as well. Mercy rule in 4 and 4 is 28 points with a 1 minute left in the game. All right, major clock stoppers versus minor clock stoppers. So again, this is only in the last minute of the second half, but essentially major clock stoppers come from things that the offense or defense does to stop the clock. So they either they throw an incomplete pass, they run out of bounds, they call a timeout, stuff like that. We're going to stop the clock all the way until the next snap happens. So things that they do typically end in major clock stoppers. On the other hand, minor clock stoppers are things that we are causing the delay in time. So we throw a penalty flag, we call our own officials timeout, or the team gets a first down. So it's taking us long to move the pucks from one to the other. We will stop it until that ready for play whistle comes on the next play. And we will show you that in person as well. So this can be a little complicated. Essentially, what we want you all to do is work as a crew, work as a team with the clock stopping in the last minute. It's only 1 minute of every game, so it's not the biggest deal, but it does come down to that last minute sometimes, so it is important. Extending a period. So if we reach that 14-minute mark, the beeper goes off. The only way that we will extend a period is if there is a penalty on the play that is accepted, or 2 penalties on the play that are offsetting, so one on the offense, one on the defense. So any sort of accepted penalty will extend the half for 1 more down, as well as an inadvertent whistle. So if we happen to blow our whistle inadvertently, we'll talk a little bit more about that later on as well, then we will extend the period. And then the last one, if there's a touchdown, we're just going to extend the period for that extra point attempt if that extra point attempt will make a difference. If some team's blowing another team out and they score on the last play, we're not going to make them attempt that PAT. But okay, very good. That is the end of Module 1. Go ahead and take the quiz for it and come on back for Module 2.